Hey everyone, this is Kristen with the Codex Station and another Codex review. And today I'm going to be reviewing Batman White Knight Presents Harley Quinn. So, before I get into everything I want to say about this, let's go ahead and talk about who did it. So, script and story is by Katana Collins. Covers and story is by Sean Murphy. Art by Matteo Scalera, colored by Dave Stewart. Covers are colored by Matt Hollingsworth, lettered by Andworld Designs. And of course, Harley Quinn is a character created by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. So let's get into this. These Batman White Knight Presents are a full story, but you do have to come in with knowledge. This one, you're going to need somewhere between basic and intermediate knowledge. You do need a background on Harley Quinn and the Joker, and it's going to be more than what you see in the movies if that's your only way of knowing about them. It's going to be a little bit of that, but also where they have been. So, spoiler alert, you're going to have to know about their children. You're going to have to know that the Joker is currently dead in this series. And you're going to have to know that Bruce Wayne is currently behind bars. So you need to know a little bit more than just the basic relationships on that one. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to not get spoilerific with that. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know this one's going to have spoilers in it. There's just no way for me to talk about this without any spoilers. So you're going to have some knowledge on Harley Quinn and the Joker. Um, good. Art. I want to talk about the art because there is some really cool things happening in the artwork here. So, because we have Harley Quinn, she is in the present day. She is taking care of her twins, her and the Joker's twins, and of course, taking care of her hyenas, and trying to make sure that all bills are paid and everything like that because, she's no longer a psychiatrist. So, how does bills get paid when you don't have the Joker giving you money or anybody else? Crime can only pay as long as you're doing crime. But as she goes ahead and takes care of this, she's reminiscing about how her and the Joker first met. Now, this is kind of where we get something really cool happening. When she's doing these memories, all of the artwork are in these shades of orange red, like orangish red. It kind of gives this idea, like this feeling of mist in a way. I know that's kind of weird to say, but that's kind of how I picture it. This idea that these are memories cloaked and they're like dreams, they're like fantasies. Is she really remembering how this actually was, or is she remembering how she likes to remember it, that everything was happy go lucky, they fell in love and everything was great? So there we have it, this dream, this fantasy, and you never want to get out of it. And when you get into the present day, you have more of the bright colors. Everything's a little bit more saturated. There's more colors there, but for some reason, while that orange red feels like a comforting blanket or a mist, this saturation of colors feels cold. So you get this idea that memories, the past is warm, and the idea of this present day is just cold, empty, and lonely. And as we go through a lot more of these memories, of course, memories of the Joker are going to get more and more violent. And when they do, when there's that hint of violence or that hint of anger, it goes ahead and it goes full red. So no more orange saturation, just full on blood red. So this idea that anger and rage are now happening and blood is going to be spilled. So it's very cool to kind of see how the memories change, but the present keeps staying the same. So we kind of know what's true and what isn't just based off the way the artwork is and the coloring is. It's really, really cool to see. The other thing that I really like about the artwork is we have a villain. It's not a well-known or even a known Batman villain. I believe it was created for this comic book. I'm not very well versed in all Batman villains, so apologies if this one has been introduced before, but it is an old timey movie star look. So it's all black and white. Their makeup is all black and white, like you're looking at a black and white or a silent movie. And I think that's really cool to have a villain that does that. Because when you're playing with colors the way that they are in this comic, that black and white stands out. Not only does it stand out so that you don't forget the villain, because although this is centered on Harley Quinn, there's still a mystery afoot. There's still a villain, and they don't want you to forget the villain. So it does stick out. But also, the idea of black and white kind of treads this idea of they live in the past, but they're also in the present. Think of all the black and white movies that we still have access to today, how popular that they still are. So even though they're so in the past, they are still very much a part of our present. So I like this idea that we have this black and white villain that could easily be somebody that they kicked butt in the past or now in the present. So it still brings an idea of that we're playing with the past, the present, and then we have this villain that's in both. Love to see it. I want to talk about the characterization of Harley Quinn in this one. Now, we know from movies and other comics how Harley Quinn is. She is extremely intelligent. She is a psychiatrist. She fell in love with the wrong person, and she goes off and becomes sort of a villain, an anti hero, really, because she is a redeemable character. But here's what I like about this particular comic. So, let me talk about what it's like to be a woman and read comics. Um, as a woman, when you're reading comics, it's a man's world still. Um, has been always in the past, still is today, just like video games and things like that. So we have to sit there and watch these female superheroes with their cleavage bursting out, wearing costumes that cannot hold anything in, with these proportions that would not be right on any side. Oh, see, I'm getting emotional. These proportions that would not be right on any type of skeleton. Power Girl would fall over. Okay, let me just say it is nice to see something that I saw in this. So I said that you have to have knowledge of Harley and Joker's twins. You do. What I didn't say is that Harley really struggles with being a mother. To her, her babies are her hyenas. The twins are just things that she has to take care of. It does not mean she doesn't care about them. She just doesn't know how to. And they really play with the idea of postpartum depression here, or PPD. Why is that such a big deal or a big thing? This is something that's not even talked about in circles of friends. Okay. Women don't go around announcing to everybody that they have postpartum depression. We don't go around announcing, hey, I've had a miscarriage. I have endometriosis. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I have depression. I am pregnant. I am all of that. We have been taught from a long time that there are some things you don't talk about, and those are things you don't talk about, which unfortunately also means that when we are having an issue with those, they're not always taken seriously. So, yeah, I'm getting real here. They're not always taken seriously. Case in point, I have something called adenomyosis. It is not deadly, it's not going to kill me, but it does mean that once a month, where some women don't go through as much pain as I do, I get so sick, so much pain that I can pass out from it. I can have so much blood come out of me that I have an iron deficiency. We don't talk about that. I didn't even know that existed until I got my diagnosis, but it took 7 years to get a diagnosis. That's the problem. It's not taken seriously because it's not well known. Um, and that is the idea with postpartum depression. So to me, this made Harley so real. Now, I'm not a parent. I've never been pregnant. I don't plan on having kids. But I know so many people that struggled to have children. So many people that struggled once they had kids, not because the kids weren't wanted, but just the hormones, the imbalance, the changes to your life, your body, everything is thrown off whack, and you end up with postpartum depression. And this is how we get some murderers out there that end up killing their children, or going a little crazy, or just saying things like that. I never wanted my kids and things like that. It's because there's not a lot of help for this, and it's not talked about. Not really in movies, not in circles of friends, not with doctors. This comic dared to go there. It's only for a little bit, but I have to say that that makes such a huge freaking impact, because since it's not discussed in media a lot, it's just nice to have it in a comic with such well established characters. People sometimes see themselves in Harley Quinn. And now I think you have a mother character that can be relatable. Oh, I love my dogs. They're my babies. Oh, crap, I have babies. It throws it off whack. It's different. And it was really interesting to see that growth in her. And I really, really, really commend the writers for putting that in there. Um, it's huge. It's huge. I can't even like explain how huge that is. It's just insanely huge to have that. And as a woman, thank you. Really, really thank you. Um, so let's go not so real, and not so dark. This is the Harley Quinn we know and love, but it's a Harley Quinn in a crisis, not because of all her kids or anything like that. The Joker's gone. She can't afford to keep her kids fed, her hyenas fed, her house, or anything like that. So Bruce Wayne, from behind bars, still pulling the puppet strings on Gotham, because of course he is, goes ahead and reaches out to her and gives her a new purpose, which is what she needed, which is helping find this new villain. And then she kind of goes through these dilemmas of, do I do this as Harley Quinn or do I do this as Dr. Quinzel? It's this idea that she's not really sure who she is anymore. She knows who she was with the Joker. Doesn't mean she always liked it, doesn't mean she was always good. She just had a place and had an identity. She knew who she was before the Joker, Dr. Harleen Quinzel. Even if she was still struggling to figure out who she was still Dr. Harleen Quinzel. Now Joker's gone. She has kids. Who the frick am I now? So it's really interesting to see this growth and Bruce giving her a sense of purpose and her struggling with it. Her thinking that she's just pure on evil, she can't be redeemed, but Bruce still seeing something inside there. So without getting too spoiler heavy, just know that there is a lot of great characterization for Harley Quinn, going through the motions, going through and figuring out who she is, who others see her as, and even trying to figure out who her kids see her as. Even though they're just toddlers, it's still very, very interesting to see her go through motherhood and trying to figure out how to put all the pieces back together. So, for all of that, this makes it a really amazing comic. And for that, this is the second time I'm going to give a 10 out of 10. Yeah, full marks. Not just for the art, which is amazingly fantastic. I can't say enough about it. Not just for daring to go places that other people won't with the postpartum depression and how huge that is for so many women out there, especially comic book readers. But also just still giving us a Gotham, a Bruce Wayne, and a characterization of Harley Quinn that still cares. A lot of Batman comics are very dark, very gritty, and even the movies, you sit there and you're like, man, everything just seems so heavy and sad and dark sometimes. And this one is still that, but gives a little glimmer of hope. And for all of those reasons, 10 out of 10, solid, highly recommend it. It is a standalone story. You can go ahead and read it. With my spoilers in place, you now have enough knowledge to go ahead and read it. Or if you already have that knowledge, I do recommend you go ahead and read it. So, in case you forgot over the last couple minutes, I'm Kristen with the Codex Station, and this has been a Codex review. And as always, I hope to see you in the next issue. Puddin'.